Hello, dear friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have come with another information. Today is another day. I pray that God will be with you and bless you going out and coming in. Dear friends, we are here for you. And if you are there for us, why don't you share and hit the subscribe and like button for us? Because if we are not here, enemies will stay to speak against us to the international communities. And that's why we insist that we must continue. All right, please keep supporting us and we'll keep doing that which we know how best to do for Biafrans. Here comes another update, and we pray that you please listen to the end. I'll be right back.
Biafrans, rejoice. Rejoice, Nigeria has been exposed. All these years, they were being covered, protected by Obama and the rest of them, Joe Biden. But today, in the man of Trump, we are now in Trump's time. We are on God's time, what they call the God's time. The next 4 years is God's time, Trump's time. Trump will drain the swamp. And the swamp has, there is a root of the swamp that gets to Nigeria. So that swamp will be drained out. I want the Americans to know all this while, you are supposed to be a great nation, but your so-called politicians, they were embezzling your money through US aid. While they were fattening their pockets, you Americans were going through hell. You work from sun up to sundown, but you can't even see the fringe benefits. I want you to know that a country like Nigeria was doing what they call a 60-40 ratio in terms of spending the US aid. So what they do in Nigeria is when America sends the money, the funding from US aid, immediately 40% goes back to those behind the funding from America. That's the game they've been playing. Obama and the rest of them, that's the game they've been playing. You'll be surprised that Obama is making sales in his books. Back then in 2014, 2015, 2016, he writes a book and suddenly he's selling 2 million copies, 3 million copies. It was the back end. It was the back end. It was a game going on by the caliphate in Nigeria. A way to repay, to recompense him. Fellow Biafrans, people around the whole world, we are glad. In the time of Trump, things will turn around. To the Biafrans, please, I want to plead with you all to double your efforts. We have 4 years to implement Biafra. If we miss these 4 years, this window of opportunity, if we miss it, then it might take us a long time. So now that Donald Trump is in power, now that we have Trump in power, we must redouble our efforts because our implementation of Biafra will happen in the time of Trump. I call it Trump's time, what they call God's time. Fellow Biafrans, let us hear what is happening with the US aid. For what we're hearing, America has written to Nigeria, that shithole country, that shithole criminal country. America has written to that zoo called Nigeria, asking them that they are coming to investigate how all the funding of US aid has been taking place for the past years from the time of Obama to Joe Biden. Please, you must investigate it because there has been a ring of operation happening. The biggest fraud was taking place in the US aid. At this point, I want to fall back. Let us listen to what Trump said. And also, listen to what Elon Musk said, a great guy that I love so much. My inspiration. Let them hate on them, but I love this man. They are my inspiration. I love them so much. I'll take it back. Listen to what Trump said and what Elon Musk said. Then we'll take it from there. Listen. Woo! Let's go.
But the USA idea is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent and it's really corrupt.
There was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
But the USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent and it's really corrupt.
There was far too much of what you said IID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
Listen.
Very good at investing, in which case we should take our investment advice perhaps.
For the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge
Yes.
are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. But we're looking at just, when you look at USAID, that's one. We're going to look at the military. We're going to look at education. They're much bigger areas. But the USAID is really corrupt.
President Trump look no further. All you have to do is bomb brush the government of that so-called Nigeria. You will see all the information you need, because in Nigeria, they are very lousy. They are not smart enough. Those in government, they are corrupt. They practice nepotism, so they will not be able to be smart enough to hide the details in the account. I'm saying it now, perhaps they will start doing some changes in the account. But they are lousy, they are not smart enough. They have a very low IQ in that so-called Nigeria. I mean, those in government, they have a very low IQ. So, America, please go and investigate. You will find all the info you need. I know somebody that knows somebody. What they do is called the 60-40 sharing ratio. 60-40 sharing ratio. They claim they've given them 1.2 billion, but at the end, when you look at what is going on, they've taken their own share of it. It's a fraud. It's a farce. It's the biggest gimmick happening in Nigeria. USAID was a big mistake that America did with a good intention. My president, Donald Trump, with a good intention, Americans were supporting the USAID. But unfortunately, I will speak on Nigerian perspective, because I know that country called Nigeria very, very well. That shithole country. What happened there was an eyesore. They come with a deal, 60-40. So when they claim they've given them 1.2 billion as aid, when you go back to it, you will notice 70 billion was given to the corrupt politicians, and the remaining money goes back to those you were speaking about, the accountants, those that signed the signatures, those that manage the funding. They are all in it together. President Donald Trump, you've done the right thing by stopping that money going to Nigeria, because they were using it to do all manner of things. They were expanding. They were spreading their tentacles into Boko Haram, into stealing resources, bringing in ISIS. Lakurawa is a new one now called Lakurawa. They bring them in. Boko Haram, ISWAP, they bring them in to be terrorists during the day, but in the nighttime, they are security guards. They are doing concierge. They are doing bodyguard in the nighttime. For those rich men coming from Saudi Arabia to buy the golds, people from China buying the golds, coming with their private jets, helicopters. They do bodyguard in the night, but in the daytime, they are terrorists killing the Christians and taking over their lands. Those lands are peculiar because within those lands they're taking over, there is resource in that land. So with the funding from USAID, it goes to Nigeria. From Nigeria, they use it to now fund Boko Haram to go and steal the land of the indigenous people. Hence, we the Biafrans been saying we are going. We are done with Nigeria because we've seen what is happening. You all know about the Igbo landing. That's who we are. We are not cowards. We don't bow down to nobody. We ain't cowards. So when they came with the tool of Islamification, it is a short-term goal towards Islamization. When they came suddenly they came with a Muslim ticket. They claim Nigeria is a secular country, but today as we speak, we have a Muslim ticket. A hardcore Islamist is the president, and the founder of Boko Haram is the vice president. President Donald Trump. Go and verify what I'm telling you. A hardcore Islamist is the president, and one of the founders of Boko Haram in Nigeria is the vice president. Lord have mercy.